Welcome, everybody, to today's Lunch and Learn. I'll be your host. If you have any questions or anything that you would like to discuss, feel free to pop them in the chat or pop them into the Q&A. I have both available, so I will be able to answer both your questions. So that's what we have here. So thank you so much for joining. Pop your questions in the Q&A chat or the webinar chat, and I'll be able to answer them to the best of my abilities. In the meantime, as we kind of get some questions populated, I see we got a couple coming in now. A couple things to be aware of. We do have a Decisions, a YouTube channel where you can learn many different things about how to build in the platform. And we also are taking suggestions. So if you have a new video suggestion you would like us to make a video over, please email training@decisions.com with the subject new video idea, and we'll review that and we'll get back to you on whether we can make that video or not. So that will be the way you can get help or see some videos relevant to your situation. The second thing we have is the Decision Solutions Marketplace. We upload many different types of projects here on a pretty frequent basis. So go ahead and navigate to that QR code where you will be able to see those types of projects, and you can install them and use them for your own build. So it will be very helpful. The next thing that's fun too is, let's say you know of anyone who wants to learn the basic fundamentals of decisions. Currently, right now, at this very moment, we have a Submerse event happening going from August 11th to August 13th. It's still not too late to register. If you want to sign up and catch the middle of it and also finish the rest of it, you can sign up today. We go over the basics of decisions. So if you know anyone else who is interested in that, please send them to our website, decisions.com/training. In decisions.com/training, we have this great a way where you can register for that Submerse event that's going on now. This completion of this counts as your product training, so everyone who completes that training will be product training certified at the end. Alrighty, that's the end of the kind of stuff to be aware of. So let's dive into the questions. I see we got one. Joe asked, is there a way to create an interface similar to what Microsoft puts out with the menus on the left used for navigation and different screens appearing on the right based on the selection of your menu? I believe there is a way you could do that. I'll give you permission to talk, Joe. I think there's a way that you could do this. You'll need to configure the logic, but let me kind of walk through what I'm thinking right here. Let's see, let me log in. Frequently what we do for stuff like that, let's go to test. For stuff like that, what we frequently do is there's a specific menu in Forms, or is this for a dashboard or on a form, Joe? Just so I know the context.
Yeah, I'm trying to make like I guess a menu item that would be able to be chosen on the left, and then the screens appear on the right, similar to like Azure or any of
Sure.
those other places that you see.
All right. Example, we'll do example side menu. I'm gonna create a new project for this just so if I do send this to you, it'll be easy. Side menu example. It'll be easy for you to kind of break it apart and see what we did. Sure, banking, ATM, why not? Random text, and we're good. Because yeah, there is a way to do this. We have a great control in the form designer, which I think it's also in the page designer as well, if you need to put it on a dashboard. Let's say this is side menu testing. I'll create all three. So I'm going to go ahead and create a form, and this will be a normal form. This will be a UI testing form. Put that in here. And there's a specific thing called a side menu. This side menu, essentially what it is it's just a tab container that allows you to say, okay, based on what's in this tab container, you can display whatever you want to the left. So let's say I have a grid inside here. I'll put that in here. And for tab B, let's say I have another grid here, and then for tab C, I have another grid here. Now what I can do here is I could say for tab A, I want this to be account info, and you can even add an icon. So I can do the user icon if I want to make this more kind of nice and styled. So I can say account info, boom, now I got account info. For tab B, I'm gonna say locale. Let's say location. Let's see, location, and my icon will be, let's say the world. I think there's one, haha, look at that. We'll get let's do this one. I like that one better. And then we shall say for tab C, we're gonna go and say this is Let's say this is profession. And then we'll do an icon. Is there like a graduation cap? Grad. Hey, look at that, dude. I'm like nailing these icons of what we have because there's so many icons. I don't know. But anyway, okay, so I have those three. So let's say in the account, I want to know that this is a, I want first name and last name, right? So I'll just do 2 text boxes. Text box 1, I know it's going to incorporate like the whole thing. Let me just add, yeah, it's just going to incorporate the whole thing just so I could show you.
Can
So
you add
imagine,
can you add an existing form to this?
add an existing form to this, like user controls from another form.
Well, I've already developed all my forms. I don't want to develop a brand new form because I have a new menu.
So there would be no way to easily do that unless you created a user control out of your elements. So what the user control allows you to do is it allows you to say, okay, instead of having to rebuild the form, I can just paste in like my kind of formatting of your controls and things like that. So you can just pop it on once and then that's it. But if that's not used, then you would have to recreate the form and move some elements around,
So if you
unfortunately.
ever want to make a menu item, you should not be creating forms first. You should be creating your menu items first and then making your forms inside the space that you define.
Say that one more time.
So I just want to make sure that I understand the menus on the left, but you're about to design a form on the right that sends out account info, assuming
Mhm.
that's right. So if I already have a form that has account info in it, are you saying that I can't use that form and put it in here? I actually have to make a brand new form?
So you'd have to edit your existing form. Like you can like move the controls around to accommodate space for it, but then you'd have to move the controls into that side menu. So like for
I'm
example,
not,
if I have Travel Splash, right here, I think I have my example Travel Splash. Actually no, let's do data cleanup. So I have this example form data cleanup, right? So here's my form that I have here. Let's say on this file import form, I want to add that side menu thing. I don't have to recreate my form, but I will have to modify my existing form. Typically what I do is I'll say, okay, I actually want to copy this form and say this is a file form with side menu, right? And then now all I have to do is I just have to say, okay, I need to add some more columns to be able to incorporate that design. So I can say, cool, let's add that there. I'm going to slide my control to the right here, right? And then now let me move this to the right over here. And then now what I can do is now I can add my side menu, right? This is the kind of development you'd still have
I
to do
see.
regardless
I see.
of the form design. And then I could say, okay, I'm going to add my grid, right? And then I add my grid layout, boom, right here. And then I could say, hey, I actually want to move this inside of my control here. And I want to move this inside of my control here. And thus that gives you, and I can select the parent grid element and I can stretch it over. So you just still have to edit it though. Like there's no,
I
unless you
see.
use a user control, then then you can easily like one and done, pop it in.
Makes sense. That makes a little bit more sense.
Okay, awesome, cool. Alrighty, Jin, long time no see, Jin. I think aren't you with aren't you with Liberty Mutual, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I think I
Since
went on site. Me and Jeremy went on site with you guys years ago,
right,
in
yes,
Indianapolis. So
very
I
nice to
know.
see you. Yeah, it's been a long
Yeah,
time.
I know. Long
Yeah,
time no see, man. Well, welcome.
thanks. Yeah, we do have some questions. Normally, we don't just bother you guys because I think we have everything in hand. But we just
Uh-huh.
like if we have like questions from one time to time, we just kind of like
Yeah,
pop in and ask
I
you
love it.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. Yeah, I see your question. You're saying we're looking for something in decisions that can enable a subflow or a set of rules that will only be active or being executed after a certain date. Hmm. I see. So basically, like, I don't know, during periods of promotions, you want this rule to run, but not
Yeah,
another rule. Okay.
right, exactly. There are some because we can technically promote this change at that date, right? Like April, whatever the
Mm-hmm.
certain date, which is kind of like the
Tedesco.
go,
Mm-hmm. Oh, go ahead, Jen.
yeah, day. So yeah, but there's some because I think it's currently the company is doing like kind of like reach into like a huge milestone, like one brand, whatever the date they are trying to reach at a certain date. But we're trying to see if there's like anything we can just to set like a date, like April 1st, 2025 or something like that, that will enable a certain set of rules only be active or only being executed from that date. So technically, if we have that one, we can just like push everything to production without like doing that again on the launch date, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you. So this is more of a like you're trying to implement things like from like I want to merge things on a repo only after this date, or you want like
We really want that rules there, but
mhm,
it can be like skipped if
mm,
if the current date is like earlier or prior to that specific like date we defined. Yeah.
mm,
I know
okay.
you guys talked about something like a scheduler or something like that, but I think that's more of like a scheduled job to be run or something
Hmm.
for that particular use case. But in this scenario, it's just more like before a certain date, all these subflows or the rules can just be skipped. Um, but after that, it will be active forever. It's more like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like it is like something like a date, like I can just define or something, create a variable in the flow, like a date I can define like April 1st, for example, then I just compare the current date with that date. Um, and if it's earlier than that, then I can just skip or something like that. Skip the stuff
Gotcha.
flows.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's kind of take a look. We might have, I think we have something, you might have to develop some logic around it.
Okay.
Uh, let's see, let me add a better one. Sure. And then we'll say rule tests. Rule run on certain on a specified date.
Mhm.
Specified date. All right, cool. So then we're going to create this. And I believe that what we would do is in your rule set, right? Because that's what you guys are using, right? You have a rule set.
Yes, correct.
Alrighty. So here is, let me just create a simple rule set. Simple rule set. What do you know what kind of rule set you're using? Is it like a conditional? Is it a template with instances or?
We haven't developed anything yet. I think we have only one, we used rule set very occasionally, but most of them are just like simple rules, like statement
Gotcha.
rules. But
Okay.
if you can
Ah,
do that in the simple rule set, it's fine too. I just want to see
gotcha.
whether, yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So for your specific use case, what I would recommend is using the conditional rule set.
okay.
Basically, what that means is you have rules for your rule set that you can create. You have a rule that says, hey, in order for me to run this rule set, I need to fulfill this criteria of this rule.
Okay.
I'm sure you can see where this is going. Right now, I can
Mhm.
make that, hey, only run if the date is after 4/0/125 or
Yes.
something like that. And you could say
Mhm.
between, 4/125 and 12/31/2025, right? Because you don't want this just running forever in
Yeah.
eternity, let's say. So I'll walk you through that. So what I would advise is you have the ability to hit the settings icon, and
Mhm.
then you could say, hey, I want conditional. And then you can go ahead and hit save. And so what
Okay.
this does is now if I add, oh, there we go. And now I can add more conditional rule sets. So I can have a template that will run. I can add a rule
Mhm.
here that says, hey, this is my overarching rule run anyway.
Yeah.
Right. And we could just imagine it does something intelligent. I'm not going to configure it
Mhm.
for sake of brevity, but so this will run no matter what. But then I could say, hey, I want to add a conditional rule set that says, run on certain time span. Pretty bad name, certain time span. But what I can do with this, right, is now I
Mhm.
have this control rule. So I can add all these rules. And so this is my example rule 1, enter. And then imagine it solves all of your problems in a single click. And we'll say this is example rule 2. And then what we got here, so I got these two rules, but I have this control rule. And so with this control rule, I can say, hey, I want to make sure that the date, the current date, is, let's see, let's do, where's current date? I don't have current date. Let's say, or let me do this. Here we go. Let me add an input to my rule set. And I'll say this is just current date. And then date time, and then is there, oh, I thought there was a way you can say, you can specify. And then what you can do is you can say, hey, for my control rule, I want to specify, come on, there we go. I want to specify to see if this current date time, and then I can say is between, is between, and then I can say my start date, which is for, was, I think it's 4/1, right? Yeah, 4/1/2024. And let's say I want to end this at the end of 2025 because you'll have a new initiative, right? Maybe in 2026. So I'll only run these series of rules if the date is between this. So now you can, if there are certain rules that you only want run within this time frame, you can then build as many of these rules as you want here, and then that will only run if it fulfills that criteria, and then we'll end after that date. So that would be
Sounds
how I'd
good.
handle that one.
Yeah, I think is this like the date just by comparing the like system date, the server date you define in the server, like the current date is April. Is it just calculated based on the server like UTC time, or is I think we probably
Exactly. Yeah. So if let's create this flow. So I'll run this flow, and I'll grab my rule set and pick a create rule set. But the short and sweet answer is yes, that's exactly what it does. It just grabs since I created an input to that rule set, I can pick it. Right, I'll have an input called current date, and then the date time automatically has a current date time as an input. And so I can just select that and it will grab your system time and run that. So that's exactly where that comes from.
Yes, and we can probably just do some calculations, make sure it's just starts like Eastern. Probably they want Eastern like 12 a.m. on that particular date, and probably we will just minus like 5 hours, something like that.
Sure. Yeah. There's a lot of steps too in the toolbox that allow you for that. I think it's like date manipulation steps where if you need something specific, like I had one customer that for determining if someone's date of birth, if they were over 18, and obviously right, they could be their 18th birth year, but they haven't turned 18. They did a lot of calculation where they say, hey, convert this to UTC, add however many 18 years to that or 365 days to that, then reconvert it back to UTC, and did a lot of calculations to get that exact precision they need. And so you can definitely have access to that. I think if you look up date here, there is a lot of date steps that you can utilize for that, and there's also I think it's like UTC or something. Oh yeah, convert server time to UTC, and then you can, do all that stuff that you need if you want a very precise, right, for your business data.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
I think you also answered my second question as well.
Did I?
Yeah, because I think this kind of like things because we are basically, I think the second question is kind of like similar to the first one because the background for the second one is we are trying to build a set of like rules that can be utilized for A/B testing, like experimentation. So I think the business or analytics team are trying to see if there like we can build a sort of like a toggles to enable or disable certain like rules related to this experimentation to be active or inactive. But I think with this approach, I technically can just use that condition, the rule condition, to set like either like a variable or something like that to flip back to true and false, something like that, right? Same thing using this.
Exactly. Yeah, you could definitely utilize that. There's another design paradigm you can use called runtime selection for flows.
Okay.
And what that allows you to do is you could just store flows in a certain folder, and whatever you want to, and you're enable or disable. Like I can show you this because there's a project I have for this.
Okay.
if I go to document routing, this is a training project that we have people go through in our developer course. But what is relevant to your question here is if I go to my flows folder, I have this folder called runtime flows. And
Okay.
then what I do here is if I go to runtime flows, in my process, I actually fetch all of the flows in this folder, and then it will run only those flows within that folder. And let's
Okay.
say if I don't want testing 2 to run anymore, I can just say, hey, let's move testing 2 out of runtime flows to another folder called not used flows. And
Okay.
obviously, I would do this manually just to show you, like, hey, it's just moving it. But you can create a process that's on a dashboard that someone can right click and say, hey, deactivate, and it moves it to the other folder, and then that one won't be
Yeah.
run anymore.
Yeah. I think we're probably just looking for something much more simpler. Maybe just
Okay.
like a set of flows, like flow A, flow B, then based on the flow ID, there's something like a true and false or active or inactive. We just
Hmm.
like toggle check like true and false. So based
Sure.
on that toggle, it will skip or
Hmm.
run that flow, something like that.
I got you.
Yeah.
You could add that. I think you would have to add that like as a simple like true false rule at the beginning of your logic, saying, hey, enabled, and then true, and
Okay.
then you go in. So that would be, I think that's how you would do that. But
Okay.
the suggestion that we talked about earlier would be just the easiest one of leveraging the rule set.
Okay. Got it. Thank
Hmm.
you. Yeah, I will
Of course.
play with that. Yeah. Mhm.
Sounds good. Well, it's great seeing you, Jen. Hope things are going well.
Yeah, thanks. It's getting back
Awesome.
going well. Yeah.
Awesome. Alrighty, that's all the questions. Anyone else have any other questions? All right. Well, we'll just stay on the call for about 6 more minutes. If there's no more questions, we'll just end early so we can get these videos uploaded to YouTube. So if any of the people who asked questions want to review it, they can go ahead and find them on YouTube. Just to kind of show where that's at. If you haven't used the YouTube channel, I heavily encourage you to do so. This is our YouTube channel. We post our lunch and learns, and we post all of the items that we have inside of them. So if there's ever a lunch and learn you want to review, they will be found here. It's a great wealth of information and a resource. And so, yeah, definitely I would like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us out. And also send suggestions at training@decisions.com of what videos you would like to see. So that's the YouTube channel, and that's where we'll post this uh, video after it's uploaded. So I'll hang around for 5 minutes just in case if there's any more questions. If not, we'll just end early.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, I see no questions, so I'm just going to go ahead and end the Lunch and Learn. Thank you so much for attending. Tomorrow we have another Lunch and Learn with Gregory Goldston. He'll be another great resource that if you have any questions, go ahead and join that call, and we'll have some new information there. So thank you so much for your attendance, and I'll see you guys next time.